Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor. Now, it's real time.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, one of the best parts about Outdoor GPS, and I know I like to bring this up a lot because I can, being live. This is actually right now, the 20th of April at 9:25. You can find out what a true professional guide is dealing with out on the Willamette River with clients and how things are actually going. You simply can't get that anywhere else, period. Thank you. Mr. Kuhn, it's good to see you, man. And
good to see you.
You gave us a heck of a landmark in the background. I like that, man. How's the fishing this morning down there in the harbor?
We started up higher. We just kind of made it down here. We started at Willamette Park area and just kind of worked our way all the way down here. So it's not red hot. We did miss one earlier, but we have not seen anything caught from the few boats that we've been around. It's just still the crowd's kind of light for this time of year, Should be Saturday, beautiful weather, and maybe 20 boats launched,
Well, I mean, and I would assume that you might agree, but I like that. I mean,
I trust me, I like it, but it kind of shows that it's been kind of a slow start to the year, so everybody kind of knows that. Is what it is.
Well, I agree. I mean, it has certainly been a little bit of a weird start, late start, but there's a reason why you're in that section of the river. Why would you, as one of our professional top guides here in the Northwest, take your clients down into the harbor on the 20th of April as opposed to other areas? Is this just a confidence thing, timing thing, temperature thing? Why is it that you spend your time there?
I think right now the fish are just kind of everywhere. There's not like a high concentration in any one spot. And you'll hear of a little snap here or there, but I just don't think it's you just got to bump into them. There might be one little, at a tide change somewhere that they're going to hit really well. But I do think the harbor just holds fish, especially in this low water. I don't think there's a lot of water pushing on them to like make them say, hey, let's go up river real quick, and so they just kind of mill around in this slow water down here.
What's the temperature that you're getting down there in that slow water? Because it does change things from what I might see.
It's 52.3 right now.
Oh, okay, so
it's pretty good temperature, and that's throughout the whole system. It seems like it's roughly around that 52. I've talked to people in Oregon City and down in the channel, and it seems like that's the temperature right now.
Yeah, that's what I was getting up in Oregon City. It was 54 on Monday, and then on Thursday it was down to 52 with those colder nights. But that's a good point. At least you got a consistent temperature all the way down. And I hope that you paid attention to what he said there, everyone, is that in that harbor, it's a massive area, right? Those fish can just be in there milling all over the place, and you just got to bump into them. Is there I noticed, I don't know if everybody else did, but you're doing S-turns or what we call a Z pattern, going from one side to the other, everyone. If you notice that, you can see how his transom went to the west side of the river itself. Sorry to give that up, but it's true.
No, it's absolutely fine. I mean, that's the thing down here. There's no one little spot that's the best. You're just kind of bouncing off the edges, and just trying to bump into one, as we used to call it back in the day, the old drunk troll. Because that's how you just bounce off and play between the bumpers.
What are you fishing with? Are you running 360s yet? Or are you still doing inlines with bait?
Yeah. 360s. Yeah, 360s with spinners, super baits, Kuhn shrimp. So I was using herring, but I don't know. I just feel like on these warmer, sunny days, for some reason, the herring doesn't work as well for me. It just maybe down in the channel, where you're fishing lower, shallower water, but in this deep stuff, I think it's better to get them to come out of nowhere to come get your stuff.
Sure. No, I get that. I mean, you got to have your confidence, and obviously he's got enough time on the water, everyone with clients and rods to play with.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a pretty good idea of what is working well for him or not. Now, I do have to ask the question, though. Have you been running herring behind 360s? And if you have, is that how you notice that maybe they weren't working as well for you?
No, I haven't really been, but I mean, I do that on occasion. Typically, like I said, if it was a little cloudy, I'd probably be more willing to do that. But right now, I just want a little more pop in the water. No, I just noticed I started the other day. I had four 4 herring rods to start, and no takers on those. And I switched all the 360s, and then we got 2 bites pretty quick after that. So kind of like, oh, okay. I guess my confidence is switching to 360s now.
Which I get, man. Now, obviously, I had this discussion this week, Steve, with some of the guys up. I've been up in Oregon City, back trolling, banging my head against the wall on that deal.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So it's been an interesting, obviously when you're up there, everyone, maybe not obviously, but you're relatively close to other boats. You get a chance to talk to them. And the conversation, Steve, was, when do we switch over to 360s? And I'm like, now. I mean, it's right now. Honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we've blown it completely out of the water, Steve, as far as, you got to have warmer temperatures in order for these things to work or not. But when you're in the 50s and, maybe you just don't have some of the pieces of the puzzle to be successful in other areas, just getting the 360s out and getting the baits correct, whatever it might be behind them, either stuffer baits or, like Steve had mentioned, Kuhnies with a spinner blade or something in front of them, that can be darn effective. You just got to run across them. You've got some pretty darn nice electronics in your boat, Steve. Have you been marking many fish, or is it just sporadic overall?
Just very sporadic. So, marked a few in the spaghetti factory troll, but nothing that made me want to stay. Made a pit stop at Hawthorne. Same thing there. There's a sea line working there, so I think it spooked some fish out of there. And that's just how it's been, and these sea lions get in these areas, and I feel like there's not a ton of fish around. So when those sea lions come in these areas, Oregon City is one thing, but these areas that we're fishing down here, if a sea lion comes in an area, they're going to push those fish out of there pretty quick sometimes. So, I mean, you have to deal with them all the time at Oregon City, but around here it's a little different. So
I get it. It's just a completely different zone. And Steve, I think that's one of the reasons why we love the Willamette. Obviously we get springers traveling it, as long as the idiots that make the decisions don't destroy it, which they're trying to do, Steve. I know you know that.
I know.
But we've got in that river, there's so many different ways that you can fish based on the different sections that you're in, from the channel all the way up to the falls. You've got a number of different ways to go after them, a number of different baits. There's so much variety there that you can always find a zone in an area that you might be more comfortable than another, or at least more confident. Okay, Steve, bear with me, man. I got to come to a quick break. We got one full pass from him, everyone, from going from the east side to the west side, doing this little Z pattern. I'm paying attention to what the huts and the houses that are built on the bank back there, so we can see what's kind of going on. Believe it or not, they still allow that stuff to happen. It's crazy, everyone. But at the very least, we're going to come back. I want to pick up with Steve, find out what his plan is for the rest of the day, and maybe going forward this upcoming week with the situation that we're in currently, right? We'll be back in just a minute. Steve, be patient with me, bud.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Chevy Silverado and the impressive new Turbo Max engine. Flex your muscle with the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. Official truck of Outdoor GPS.